y'all, welcome to a brand new episode of Confessions with Lo. Before we get into it, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and turn on your post bell notifications. And also, if you ever want to send me a submission, the email to do it is always going to be in the description box of all my videos. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so this first one says a low-key party. So she said, "Hey Lo, I love your channel and you're so beautiful. Keep doing your thing, queen. Thank you." So she said, "So my name is blank, but you could call me Alex for the story. So this all begins on my 17th birthday. I'm 22 now. Me and my best friend, Carmen and Lexi, fake names, were all hanging out the day before, and we were trying to figure out what we was gonna do. My mom was out of town and my dad worked all day, so I had the crib to myself and could do whatever I wanted. So I was like, I wanted to have, cause why not? I hadn't lost my virginity to anyone, so why not? Now wait a minute. Now wait a minute, babe. Cause not you saying it like so. Ooh, I gotta beat that out. Not you saying like it's whatever, like might as well. No. So she said, my friends wanted to have two. So the plan was each of us would take turns using my room to do it. I would go first, then Carmen, and then Lexi. We would switch the sheets around each time. What is going on? What is going on? Literally, what is happening right now? She said, yes, we were stupid and young for thinking this. So the day comes and only Lexi's guy comes over, but he is friends with the guy I was supposed to do it with. We're going to call him Roger. So me and Roger used to date, but I just wanted some weenie. I called him and we got into an argument because he thought if we had, I would catch feelings, but I told him that I didn't want him. I just wanted the weenie and keep it pushing. It's that simple. You were 17. Now that sounds good. That sounds really nice. Yeah, it sounds great. Baby, you was gonna be in love with that man. You was gonna catch feelings like you never caught feelings before. I promise you. She said, it's that simple. I don't know no dude that would pass up free coochie. So I said, get and called my boy bestie. He answered. I said, it's my birthday. And he like, what you trying to do? I'm like, you already know. And he came. I was so nervous, but I did it. After that, he was my F buddy and we kept it no strings attached. Sorry, this is too long. Love you. No, that wasn't too long. So it was kind of just like, to me, it sounded like you just like, let me just hurry up and get this like out the way. Like, let me just, you know, like lose my virginity. Like, and I want like, cause I know some young girls are subscribed to me and this could be unsolicited advice. Like, you don't have to like listen to me, but please don't think about your virginity as just like something that you like, you know, just like whatever, like let me just get out the way. Like, no. Treasure that and keep that close to you for as long as you can. Literally. Because that's not just something that you just play with for real. And I'm not even trying to like get all into that. Just, I'm pretty sure like you know, you realize like how that was. Like, not that you're 22. But yeah. Thank you for sending in that confession. And I love you too. Okay, so let's get to the next one. This one says, catching feelings for my neighbor turned sneaky link. She said, hey girl, I've been subscribed to your YouTube for a while now. I've always thought about sending in something, but was always scared. But I'm up late, bored as hell now, watching your video, so I said, why not? This story may be a little long, so sorry in advance. So for background knowledge, I'm 19 years old. All I really do is chill in my house and work. I don't really have many close friends because I'm antisocial and have bad anxiety, so I really just be in the house all day besides work or day-to-day activities. Recently, I've been trying to push myself and be a little bit more social. I also, if you know, you know. And one day I needed to find someone to cop from because at the time my usual moved away. I saw my neighbor outside and decided to just straight up ask him, does he sell? I knew he at least smoked because I used to see him in his garage doing it. For context, I've been living in this neighborhood for years and he's been here for only about 2. And this was our first interaction ever. This was the beginning of 2023. I'm 19 and he's 22. Anyway, he ends up saying he does and we exchange numbers. The following day he hits me up asking me if I wanted to try something new that he got. I made a joke and tell him I'm gonna need to inspect the because, ooh, can I say that? I might gotta bleep that out. Because he's a stranger and I don't know him. He laughed it off and told me I can roll if I wanted to. He understands why females are cautious with stuff like that, especially with everything that be going on in the world. Not gonna lie, I like that he said that because some dudes would have got defensive and took that as if I'm trying to say he's trying to lace me, when that's not the case. I just don't smoke with randoms. Fast forward, we started hanging out almost every day and I actually enjoyed his company. He would talk about stuff he's going through with his family and talk about his passions. I feel like I should also mention that he's very social and I'm more to myself, so personality wise we are opposites, but that's what kind of made me more attracted to him. Opposites do normally attract. And personally, since I barely talk to anyone, I sometimes get confused if I actually have feelings for someone or if I'm just bored. I also have been single for a hot minute and been focusing on myself, but decided to date around and do me a little bit. And after a while, if you know, you know, Miss Mamas starts getting lonely sometimes too. So I said, fuck it. Me and this dude have been chilling. I feel like we're starting to get to know each other. Why don't I just ask him? So I ended up texting him, being very straight. First of all, you are very blunt and I love that, okay? Because sometimes, like a lot of, you know, like most times, like girls be like very like, you're very straight up with it and I like that. She said, so I ended up texting him being very straight up because I'm blunt. If he would be down to do. At first, he thought I was joking, then he agreed. Later that day, I started overthinking and decided that I was going to tell him never mind because basically, I don't want to catch feelings. We were chilling and smoking basically every day with each other and I knew if I keep it up, I'ma fall. But I didn't tell him that. I just basically told him I don't want to anymore because I don't want to regret it just in case he does something that would make me mad that I even fuck with him in the first place. Me self-sabotaging. And I also tried to open up to him about relationships, period, not just romantic ones, and how I be feeling like I be caring way too much when it comes to friendships and romantic relationships. He was looking at me laughing and shit, telling me to spit it out when I was talking because my dumb ass doesn't know how to word shit correctly. So it kind of did sound like I was basically telling him I was catching feelings or something, which I didn't want him to think. And he literally said, so you don't want to because you want to be in a relationship or something? I said no and tried to save myself with an explanation that I don't even remember of. It probably was dumb. Anyway, one thing led to another and we actually do end up doing the do. We were spending way too much time together. It wasn't just chilling and smoking. We would be cuddling in his bed, watching shows together, so it was bound to happen. Now, he sometimes says certain things that make me think he has the same thoughts as me, but then again, some ninjas friendly as hell, and it just be their personality to flirt. I still don't really know if I actually have feelings or if I'm just bored and love his company. I'm leaning more towards the bored side because I feel like if I truly had feelings, I wouldn't be iffy about it. I can agree to that. Like if you know, like you wouldn't be questioning if like you really did have feelings. Okay, I get that. I'm usually not scared to tell someone if I have feelings for them, but it's the fact that we are neighbors. Like if he rejects me, I'm gonna have to see him all the time. Over time, we stopped hanging out as much, mainly because he started a legal job, but I also feel like he don't fuck with me as heavy as he did before. When I confronted him about it, he said he don't act no different. But what made me really believe he doesn't see me like that is when basically, long story short, we had a pregnancy scare. She said, TMI, we used protection except for twice. After this, we never went unprotected again, that's for sure. And When I first was telling him I think I might be pregnant, he was telling me he would be there for me mentally and physically. This is what he said at first. She put that in all caps. But he isn't ready to be a father. I agreed and said if I am pregnant, I'm most likely not going to keep it for many reasons. She said she got that $500 to go to the clinic. Okay, don't play. One day we were talking and somehow we got into a miscommunication about him thinking I knew I was pregnant for sure but didn't tell him. Words were exchanged and somehow the argument led to him walking off in the middle while I was talking. After that day, us hanging out has never been the same. Like, I don't know what it is, but the vibe is just different now. We still have sex here and there and chill, but just not as much. And our conversations are less personal and are more like regular day-to-day convos instead of very intimate. I don't know if I should be honest about some of these feelings I have, or if I'm overthinking and should just chill. I don't want to be embarrassed. And I'm sorry if this story barely made sense. I left out so many details because if I kept everything in, I would be writing for so long, but I hope you enjoyed it. Girl, I just want to... That was a long confession. Ooh, I might not can show y'all that because I don't know if y'all can see her name or nothing. But, you use correct punctuation. You capitalize your letters, your words. You did not have your words run into... Thank you. Just, first off, thank you for that. Second, I feel like you kind of maybe like dodged the bullet maybe. Because I feel like, and this is just the vibe I was getting, he kind of like started acting weird after y'all got intimate with each other, right? And then it's like, you think I'm pregnant and I'm just not telling you, but I told you like prior to this, like, oh, I think I might be. Anyways, I don't know. I don't really like his vibe for real. Do y'all still be hunching? I be asking questions like y'all really gonna answer. Sometimes y'all do be answering me in the comments if you don't care about your identity being revealed. But like, do y'all still be hunching? Because you sent this last month. So do y'all still be hunching? Because I don't want you to hunch that man no more. I don't know. Yeah, thank you for that. That was a really good story. Okay, and let's move on to the last one. This is my girl right here. I be seeing her in my comments. Dang, I wonder if she could... Okay, so she said, hey, Lo, you can call me Tay. She is a ride or die in the comments, okay? Like, I don't even have to tell her. Like, before I even, like, say anything, like, make sure you leave a comment. Tay gonna already be there. So, I appreciate you for that. I really do. Because I know you fuck with me like I fuck with you, and yeah. So she said, hey, Lo, you can call me Tay. I subscribed maybe about a month or two ago. I'm not sure, but I have watched all of your videos, and I love you. See, Tay, I love you too. I've been thinking about sending this story in for a while, but I'm drunk. But now I'm drunk, so better now than never. This is going to be long, so buckle up. Girl, you typed all of this wrong. Oh my God. Okay, so she said, this story takes place in July 2021. At the time, I was 18. My aunt, let's call her Gap, was 23. She is my mother's sister on my father's side. On my father's side. My mother's sister on her father's side. They do not talk. I'm not sure how old her boyfriend E.T. was. My girlfriend at the time, let's call her Hips, was 23, and her best friend Bracket was 22. Okay, so hold on. We got Tay, we got Gap, we got E.T., Hips, and Bracket. Okay. Shortly after my 18th birthday in June 2021, Gap paid for and booked my flight to Atlanta. Hips sent Gap the money for her flight so that we could sit together. Hips and I sent Gap $500 for the hotel room. We planned the trip for Wednesday through Sunday. A couple weeks later, Gap called me asking could we send more money for the room because E.T. wasn't paying for his portion, so Hips sent Gap another $250. Remember this because it comes up later. Okay. Hips and I flew to Atlanta from St. Louis in July on a Wednesday. We land, Gap and E.T. pick us up, all is well. We go to the mall before we check into the hotel. We dropped Hips off because I'm not sure I was not sure how my grandparents would take my relationship, and I had told my mom I was going out of town with my best friend at the time. I know it was wrong, but I'm pretty sure my mom knew all about my relationship. To make it worse, I told my mom I was living with my best friend the whole time. I was living with my girlfriend. My grandpa and my mom do talk, so I know if I would have brought hips, my grandpa would have said something to my mom. My grandparents lived an hour away from the hotel. They did not know that I was coming to Atlanta, and the last time they had seen me was when I was 6 years old. Oh my gosh. So it was a heartwarming surprise for them. I chilled with them for about 2 hours before heading back to Hips. Before heading back to Hips at the hotel, who was upset about me leaving her. Oh, so she was mad that you went to your grandparents' house. Okay. This night, we drank and chilled in a room. Mind you, I was drunk, so I'm not sure how it began, but me and Gap ended up arguing. All I remember is that she was saying how she and my mother don't talk, but she wanted to be there for me. I said she was never there for me, and I went through life alone. I told her she didn't reach out until I turned 18, and we went back and forth. E.T. took Gap to the car, and Hips took me up to our room to calm down and tell me I should apologize. I went to the car to attempt to apologize to Gap, but she asked me to leave her alone, and I respected her wishes and went back to the room. Honestly, I didn't really care to apologize because I didn't give a fuck. I said what I said, but I didn't want to ruin the trip because it was literally the first night. Woo. The next morning, Thursday, we wake up and Gap is acting as though nothing happened the previous night, so I did the same. We go to the mall again, and E.T. gets trapped in one of those gambling scams that I'm too drunk to even begin to attempt to explain right now. I'm too focused on my grammar. Say, I love you. My girl said, even though I'm drunk, I'm still making sure oh my God. She said Gap gets mad at E.T. for not leaving the gambling alone after he lost $1,000, and this sets off their first argument. Later, we go to the club and have fun. Everybody is making me watch my drinking, blaming me for the argument that happened between Gap and I. Gap and E.T. get into it over something so stupid I can't remember that leads to them breaking up and him dropping us off at the hotel. Gap spent the entire night banging things on the floor and screaming. I'm flying past things because I already know the story is going to be long. Friday, Bracket, Hip's best friend, drives in from Alabama. Damn, I done forgot about Bracket. Gap, oh, she said brackets. You saying brackets because braces? Okay. Gap is still upset about her breakup with E.T., but in an attempt to lighten her spirits, we plan to go to the club. Gap had one of those resale boutique Instagram pages and let me borrow an outfit. We Ubered to the club and we got a section. Oh, excuse me. We got 2 bottles, one light, one dark, and we were smoking. Once again, I drank the least because of the argument. Gap introduces me to somebody she used to talk to, and I go back to the section with Hips and Brackets as Gap bounced around the club. Mind you, the whole time we were in the club, Gap is barely in the section, but we weren't worried because this is her city and she used to be a dancer. She's no stranger to nightlife. She doesn't need a babysitter, so she knows the people. She doesn't need a babysitter. She knows most of the people there. Come time to leave, going into Saturday morning, Gap is in the parking lot acting crazy. She's pacing, acting like she can't calm down and doesn't want to order an Uber back to the hotel. Instead, she wants E.T. to come pick us up. She calls him and he reluctantly says he's on the way. When he gets there, he opens the door for her. She begins to start fighting him and trying to... She begins to start fighting him and trying to back out the car. E.T. then yells, "What the fuck are you doing, Gap? You know I have a gun charge with a gun in the car and it's police. If the police come over here, I'm going to jail. You need to calm down." Now, why would you be riding around with a gun in the car? You got a gun charge in Atlanta. Okay. So she said Gap calms down and sits in the seat. The way if I was E.T., I would have left. Because stop playing with me. Gap calms down and sits in the seat and everybody else in the car. Everybody else gets in the car. Once we get onto the highway, Gap begins standing up in her seat and trying to grab a hold of the steering wheel. E.T. tries to get her to sit down and asks us why she was acting like that. Hips tells him that she was fine until she went with the dude that she used to talk to, that she introduced me to. After he found out she was with another dude, all care for her went out the window and he started flying to the hotel. Brackets ends up having to sit on Gap's lap to keep her from grabbing the wheel. Hips tried to calm E.T. down and I cried in the back seat the whole time. That would be me. All this stuff going on, I'm so drunk, I'm just crying in the back seat. Once we got to the hotel, E.T. rushed everybody out the car and basically threw Gap out the car. Hips, Gap, Bracket, and I all go into the room. Hips, Bracket, and I were in the upstairs part of the room. The upstairs part of the room in the hotel? Ooh, okay. And when all of a sudden we heard banging downstairs, we go to check on Gap, and she is butt naked flipping the couch in the living room. She's yelling and screaming about she was sexually assaulted and her mom let it happen, and how her mom was sexually assaulted as well. Oh my gosh. I called my grandma because I am alarmed by Gap's behavior. I fill her in on what happened up until this point, and to my surprise, she tells me, oh yeah, Gap does this when she pops a pill. She can go all night. Just don't let her leave the room. Wait, what? Wait, did this say you called your grandma? Yeah, you called your grandma. I was baffled. She wanted to talk to Gap and then ended up hanging up. Gap flips the couch on Hips' brand new shoes, and Hips forces her to cash up her the money for the shoes. Gap tells us that she has been to a psych ward before and says, I knew all about it and I told her no the hell I didn't. If I would have known, I would have had enough sense not to stay with the hoe, or maybe not go at all. She goes into her room and tries to drown it. That's not funny. She tries to drown in the tub and she ends up pushing the hotel bed against the doors to lock us out. At that point, she admits that she popped a pill and says she does it all the time. She moves the bed and apologizes for locking us out. She's crying for E.T., who wants nothing to do with her. Mind you, she's still naked. At this point, I realized I left my ID in E.T.'s car, which I need to get back on the plane. Gap can't call because he blocked her, so I called my grandma again and asked if she could convince him to bring me the ID. He told me he might bring it. Gap tries to leave the room naked and we stop her. I try to talk to her and Hips asks me to sit down because she doesn't want to hurt Gap for hurting me. I forgot to mention Hips works with people with high behaviors, so she was designated to what Gap was doing. As Hips is talking to me, Gap grabs her by her hair and kicks her in the eye. I instantly jump on Gap and choke her and make her let Hips go because Hips had a concussion before and her head is a sensitive spot. She pulled Hips' hair so hard that she ripped out some of her hair. She ripped out some of her braid and gave her a bald spot. Brackets hit Gap in the head. Wait a minute. It is so much going on. At this point, we're done trying to keep her in the room. She put on her clothes and walked out barefoot screaming. We jumped her. Hips followed behind her and gives her a mean punch to her eye. I mean, her hand flew back behind her back. Wait, her head or her hand? It don't matter. Gap didn't stop walking, didn't even flinch. That's how we really knew she was off something. So now she just ate that punch like that. What kind of pill? I called my grandma back. Now at this point, if I was a grandma, I would not even be answering the phone no more. Y'all got too much going on. I called my grandma back and updated her. She told me she was gonna see if my grandpa wanted to be on his way. Hips, Bracken, and I were discussing what happened when we heard a knock at the door. Hips opened it up and it's the police. I was wondering when they was gonna show up. They told us that Gap had gone to the lobby and told them that we didn't pay for the room and we jumped her. We told them that she was mentally ill, nobody jumped her, and showed them that she trashed the room. We told them she left barefoot and she needed help. They told us that she was grown and that they could not force her to take their help, but they would go out looking for her. After they left, my grandparents pulled up with Gap in the back seat talking shit. My grandpa said he knew it was only a matter of time before this happened and apologized to us. That pissed me off because he did not warn me or my mother at all. They made us keep her in the room for hours only to let her go out the back seat and walk away still barefoot. She left yelling and she left yelling that she hoped my stepdad R-worded me. Hips and I, oh my God, y'all, there's so much going on. Hips and I go to our room, bracket to the couch. Wait, Hips and I go to our room, brackets to the couch to get what little rest we could. Okay, so like y'all go to your room and bracket sleep on the couch. Okay, what little rest we could get at this point. Hips held me as I cried myself to sleep. I wake up to Gap calling me. I answered and she asked if she could get her clothes. We open the door and Gap barges in and somehow she made her way to E.T. E.T. is fussing about how we jumped her and we need to get the fuck out or pay the $1,700 for the room. He still has his gun. I should have called the police or Mr. Gun Charge, who didn't put any money on the room himself. Oh, I should have called the police on Mr. Gun Charge, who didn't put any money on the room himself. We rush to pack our stuff and leave. Gap throws me my ID on the way out. In Brackett's car, Hips looks for flights back home and I'll call to update my grandparents. They tried to convince me to stay until Sunday and I declined. Gap literally stayed with them. Why are the grandparents not more like, if I was a grandparent, I'd be like, yeah, you need to go back home, babe. You do. We fly back home and take a well-needed nap. I wake up to calls and texts from Gap saying if we don't send her the money for our flights, she's going to cancel our flight back. Hips paid for her own flight. Gap only paid for mine. Delta then calls me and says that someone called tried to get me put onto the no-fly list and then hung up because they don't do refunds. We both got credit for our trips back. I was only upset because I missed Birthday Bash with Young Thug, my favorite artist ever. Listen, this is the least of your worries right now. Wait, she just had to throw that in there. I couldn't go to his next concert because he went to jail. Free my man. She had to sell the tickets because she had a black eye from that punch Hips delivered. Gap blocked me on everything after she found out I made it home and got store credit, so basically I won. I changed my number and ghosted my grandparents until a couple days ago. She said, advice time. Sorry this is so long, but I tried to keep in only the important details. Now my grandpa wants me to talk to her without weapons and get on good terms. He says nobody's hands are clean here and we are family. I can't believe she kicked me out of the hotel room and tried to get me stranded in a state I don't live in. That's not family. Do you really think we jumped her? I don't. And if we did, it was justified. I told my grandpa that she's delusional and she is the problem. He said they got into it over it and it got physical, but he thinks enough time has passed for us to talk about it and she had a baby. Do you think I should reach out or should I just leave it alone? I don't think family is everything, and if this happened with my boyfriend now, it would have gone completely different. I know if we talk in person he would want me to be there, but I don't know how that would go or if I should even go or how I should even go about it at all. Thank you for reading this mess. Love you, girl. Tay. No, friend, I don't think you're wrong, and I hate when people just try to use like, oh, because we family. Let me tell you something, and this is something that I've had to learn like in my adult life, okay? Just because you family, that literally holds no weight to me at all whatsoever, because you can meet somebody tomorrow who will protect you and love you and care about you and mean more to you than your actual blood. Like, I hate when people just try to say, because we're family, we have to tolerate XYZ. You got to put up with this because we're family. Do you know how many family members I have quite literally cut off? Like, that don't mean that I don't love it. Well, some of them. That don't mean I don't love you. That just means I got to love you from a distance. Or I hate when somebody thinks that just because you forgive somebody, that means that forgiveness equals reconciliation. Forgiveness equals rekindling something. No. Forgiveness does not mean that I'm finna start back talking to you, mess with you, nothing. Like, I forgive you and that's just it. And forgiveness is not necessarily for the other person. Forgiveness is for you at the end of the day. Because you carrying around that luggage, you carrying around that luggage, you carrying around that baggage, you carrying around that emotional baggage with you. Forgiveness is never for the other person. It's always going to be for you. Like, I don't like when people try, but we're family. What does that mean though? Because I've seen family do the grimiest, nastiest, snake type things. You wasn't thinking about we was family when you was dogging me out, when you was doing me dirty, when you was talking about me behind my back. You know, like, just because we're family, that doesn't mean anything. It literally means nothing. So, no, friend, I do not think that you're wrong. I personally don't think that that would be healthy for you, which I don't know because you sent this in June. Now, how did I get... Did I already read this story? How did I get a story from June when my last one was from July? Y'all, I literally don't even know. I don't think I read her confession before, but she sent this in June. And I don't know. What was I saying before I had to cut the camera off? No, for real, you're not wrong at all. I don't think that, which I don't know if you have or have not already or done so or whatever, if you're still considering. Me personally, I wouldn't be going to meet up with nobody who did all of that and you got a drug abuse problem or whatever type of pill she popped. Maybe she needs to go see somebody about that, because you tweaking that hard off, like, no. And it's like you talking about you do this like frequently, nah. And she just had a baby, like, that's not good. I don't like how your grandparents didn't really like support you in your efforts on wanting to like leave. They were trying to like convince you to stay. I don't like that. But yeah, what else did you say at the end? Oh, and no, I wouldn't say that y'all like jumped her, y'all. And even, yeah, like, even if you said, like, even if y'all did, that was very justifiable. It was like, you know, when people be tweaked off of certain things, they get like, you know, they be having like super, not calling your auntie a kid or nothing, but like, you know, like people who, you know, be on stuff, they get like superhuman strength. Like, they be so strong. Like, so if it took like more than one of y'all to, you know, get her up out of there, then that's just what it was. Like, I don't think y'all jumped her. And even if y'all did, you should not have popped that pill. I'm still just trying to figure out how she sent this in June and I'm just not seeing this. And I read my stories in order. I don't know. But Tay girl, I appreciate you. I be seeing you in the comments. I really appreciate you. We are besties. Little sis, big sis, whatever you want to call it. That's us. And yeah, I appreciate you for sending that in. If y'all made it to the end of this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, flood the comments with pink heart emojis. Send me a secret that you never told nobody before so I can talk about it. Tell me something that you always wanted to get off your chest and you just never had the opportunity to do so, but now you do. Because you can send it to that email that's in the description box, right? Yeah. Turn on your post bell notifications, and I'ma see y'all next week. Because next week, when I record again, y'all, I'ma be 28. I don't know if you watched the story from yesterday, but I said something about possibly going on live. I don't know, I'm still thinking about it, but if I do, I will of course let y'all know. But that's why y'all need to turn on your post bell notifications, because when I go live, you'll get notified. You feel me? So yeah, y'all, thank you for watching, and I hope y'all have a really good weekend. Bye.